everyone. Welcome to another edition of Vinyl Thoughts. Today, we finally made it. We made it to number 1 in my top 10 albums of all time. So, before we get there, because I haven't done it in about 3 or 4 videos, I'm going to go over my rules for how I included these albums in my top 10 and give you my little disclaimer. So, first off, my rules were it could only be one album per band, and it had to be an album that's had a long history with me. So it's something I discovered when I was younger that has lasted until now to basically tell me that it fully deserves to be in my top 10. And now, here is my very special disclaimer one more time.
Album inclusion and placement subject to change without notice. The views and opinions of current Steven may not reflect those of future Steven. Prices and participation may vary. See store for details.
All right, so let's get down to it. It's no fucking mystery. If you've been watching my videos, you know my favorite album of all time is Ride the Lightning by Metallica. So, I realize I've already talked about this album a fucking lot. What more can I say? So let's take this from a different angle and let's talk about how Ride the Lightning became my favorite album of all time. So let's take it all the way back to 1984 when Ride the Lightning was released. I was 6 years old. What was I listening to when I was 6 years old? Probably Huey Lewis and the News and Michael Jackson. I hadn't yet gotten to the rock stuff. I think the year after I would discover Van Halen and, the rest is history. But in 84, not only did I not listen to rock and roll, I definitely did not fucking know who Metallica were, so wasn't on my radar. Flash forward to 1989. I was up late one night watching this show that came on the USA Network called Night Flight. Night Flight would show all sorts of shit, from metal videos to kung fu movies to weird comedy bits and short movies and animation. It was just a hodgepodge of unique and weird shit. And I remember one night seeing the video for the Metallica song One, and it kind of scared me. I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready for this kind of shit. But you know what? I soon would be very ready. And I would get into metal and thrash metal. And by the time I next met with Metallica, I was already into bands like Anthrax. In 1991, in July of 1991, a full 7 years after Ride the Lightning came out, I saw the video for Enter Sandman on MTV. And I was like, this is pretty fucking cool. So soon after that, I went out and got the Black Album. So at that point in 1991, the Black Album was pretty much the coolest fucking thing I'd ever heard. 13-year-old kid just figuring out metal. And something about the Black Album was really fucking special to me. And I was so into it that, of course, I said, well, you know what? I want to go back and find out where this band came from and how they got here. So I became very obsessed. And what I started doing was going out and trying to find used copies of their older albums. There was a used CD store in Austin called Technophilia. And I would go there all the time and dig through everything and listen to albums and hear new shit. And the first album that I was able to get from their back catalog was Ride the Lightning, used on CD. And I remember the first thing I thought when I put it on was, did they used to have a different singer? Because he does sound a little bit different if you're going from the Black Album all the way back to Ride the Lightning. But on top of that, the thing that I loved about it was the thrashy elements of it. Because like I said, I was already into Anthrax at that point, and I think I'd already heard Testament as well. So I was already getting into thrash metal, but I didn't know anything about Metallica when it came to their older shit. And I liked the thrashy elements, but not only that, at that point, there was no expectation of what I wanted or thought I should get from a Metallica album. There were no people on blogs telling me that Metallica was better back in the day, or that they sold out, or whatever the fuck you want to say. There was none of that. It was just me pure as fuck discovering old Metallica and then just sort of piecing it all together and becoming even more and more obsessed as I went on. So, after amassing all of their catalog, being fully versed in everything Metallica, and remaining a huge fan ever since, they're still my favorite band of all time. How is this album my favorite album of all time? Well, it has a lot to do with the track listing on here, the variety of songs, and like I've said many times, I love the combination of the raw grittiness from the early days combined with the progression of where Metallica would end up. And I don't think that there is a better album that has that middle ground than Ride the Lightning. You can go watch other videos I've done and I'll talk about all of these fucking things. So I won't go on and on about that. But it's the album that has stuck with me the most. I've listened to this album more than any other Metallica album. And even songs like Escape have become songs that I really fucking like. So anyway, this is a 1984 pressing of this album. Got to get to the vinyl. This is Vinyl Thoughts. So and there you go. There's the dudes. There's Mr. Cliff Burton, and yeah, I mean, I think most people have seen the inner sleeve of Ride the Lightning before. And then let's just take a look at the record because that's what we do. Little Electra with a badass Metallica logo there. So. What more can I say about this album? Fucking nothing. You probably already heard it. You either love it, or you hate it, or you think it's okay. Mitch Hedberg. But it is my favorite album of all time. It probably will remain my favorite album till the day I die. It does something for me. And that's all it is. That's all this list is, folks. These are the albums that just fucking do it for me. So, I appreciate you following me on this journey, and thanks for your feedback and your comments. Please, down below, talk about your favorite album of all time, and be long-winded about it. Why is it your favorite album of all time? Or, if you want to do the normal shit, let's argue about why Master is better, or Kill 'Em All is better, or how Metallica is a band you used to listen to, but now you can't anymore because it's sold out, or whatever, and yeah. Anyway, so yes, once again, thank you for joining me for another Vinyl Thoughts. And now we're done. We're totally done with my top 10 albums of all time. Where do we go from here? I don't fucking know. But we'll find out next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.